Hi everybody, this is Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook, and this is Ella. I don't know if she's in frame, but she's very antsy, does not want to sit down right now. And I feel like she might get kicked out because the neighbor dog is having a conversation solo and she wants to participate. So we will see. I wanted to come and talk with you guys about my wrap up for the month of February. When we say it's short, it just feels like it flies by. I think because there's so much that I have that I want to do, and there are a lot of things to do, that it feels like the month just is like this and it's gone. So one of the things I've been trying to do this year is to try to do as clean of end to the month as possible. I tend to, if you watch this channel, oh, my hair is in my mouth. I tend to, oh God, I tend to have books run over into the next month. It doesn't, I'm in awe of all the people that are able to do it really well. I have a lot of hard time doing that because I think I always put too many books on my TBR. Just too slow a reader and things come up and I just don't anticipate my time well. So I'm happy to say I have finished my books this month, except for one, which technically was a possible one if I had time. So I don't feel so guilty about not reading it. I am coming to you right at the end of the month, the very last day. I'm not sure when I'm airing this, but I am on the last day of Black History Month. So I haven't updated my book journal yet with my actual reviews. So we've got a blank page here. But I did write down the names and I did bring some of the books. Some of the books I don't have physical. And so I'll have to kind of, show you on my Kindle what I did read. So let's start with my least favorite. And I hate to do that because I don't like to say things not nice to people. But I think every book has a reader, right? And I just might not have been the reader for this book. I mean, I just know I'm not the reader for this book. So I'm buddy reading this with my sister and friend. It was a romance. And it has nothing to do with it being a romance. I think that it was just such a, when I read books and I say I want something that's a kind of a filler that will kind of be lighter to take away from the density and the heaviness that I feel in some of the other books that I tend to read, I don't mean lighter as in the story necessarily. Like, you can still have a light story and have some depth for it. This one I just didn't, I read it. Would I pick this up? No. And would I recommend this? I think there's a reader for this book. For sure. And this book is the One Star Romance by Laura Hankin. She apparently wrote another book called The Daydreamers. And it follows this character here. I say that, I don't even remember her name now, who is the main character. And it follows her over a period of time. I think I talked about it in another one of my videos. And, she is an aspiring writer. And in a nutshell, and I don't think that's a spoiler, I think it is in the book, this gentleman that's over here on the left writes a 1-star review. And initially they started out okay, but then they kind of became like nemesis or didn't want to be around each other. But as we know how the trope goes, and use it frenemies, right? So they, a relationship ensues. And we followed this. What I thought was nice was it did follow over a long period of time. It wasn't a short time. And it did bring some other more serious content towards the maybe mid to the end of the book, more to the end of the book, that I guess you would call giving it a little bit of teeth to it. I don't know. It was just not my book. I'm glad I read it and it's over. I can talk with my sister and my friend about it. Really not much to talk about either in it. So I think it's a beach read. It could be a great beach read for somebody that wants to read something that they just want to read a story, a love story. So that was the first one that I completed this month. Then I read for the anti-brain rot challenge a nonfiction called Cobalt Red: How the Blood of the Congo Powers Our Lives by Siddharth Kara. Wow. Listen, just listen. That was a lot of learning. A lot of learning. And I think everybody should read this. If you own a phone, if you own a tablet, if you drive an electric car, if you own a Kindle, laptop, I just think it's important for you to, I think even in it, let's say our wireless headphones, I'm not sure if that is in it, but this is fantastic. And wow, was this gentleman risked his life on many occasions to find the information. I struggle with deciding whether I was going to sit and do one video just about this, but I feel like I think that you as a reader, you have to experience it for yourself. I did pull two things that I wanted to say that was quotes. Highlighted more than half this book. So, but one thing is, it talks about cobalt mining is the slave farm perfected. The cost of labor has been nullified through the degradation of Africans at the bottom of an economic chain that purports to exonerate all participants of accountability through a shrewd scheme of obfuscation adorned with hypocritical proclamations about the preservation of human rights. It's a system of absolute exploitation for absolute profit. Let me repeat that last line because that one really got me. It's a system of absolute exploitation for absolute profit. Period. Full stop. No matter what we see in all of the ads and the campaigns and these companies about being responsible and clean, read. The other thing that this book did a wonderful job, and I'm going to read this because it says what I want to say. It says, if you really want to understand what is happening in the Congo's mining sector, you must first understand our history. This book does a lot of that. And it shows you how things are the way they are and continue to be the way they will be until I don't know when. After independence, the mines were managed by the Belgians. They took all the money and there was no benefit for the people. After the Belgians, we had Africanization, and that's in quotes, with Mobutu. He nationalized the mines, but again, they only benefited the government, not the people. With Joseph Kabila, we created the Mining Code in 2002, and this brought foreign investment into the mining sector. They said the Mining Code would improve the lives of the Congolese people, but today their lives are much worse. Now you can see, never have the people of the Congo benefited from the mines of the Congo. We are only becoming poorer and sicker. And children, it's women, children, and men. The entire community is being put into this system. There's no other choice. It's not like you go, oh, well, I could just go down the street and work at the gas station. No, there's no other jobs, and the living conditions is horrible. And while we walk around, and I'll just get off this in a minute because it just, whoa. While we walk around with our lovely device, and don't get me wrong, I love my Kindle. I love having the access of being able to carry my laptop or the iPad to go to the cafe and work on things, right? I love it. I don't own an electric car, but I do have a lot of devices, right, that are powered by the Congo. I feel like you owe this to yourself to understand. Even if you don't know what you can do, it's still better to know what is going on. It's like a movie that we are kind of shielded, blinded to what goes on to create progress. Even the industry of, clean energy is impacting this. And it doesn't have to be this way. That's the problem, or that is the saddest part about it. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to kill people and, work them to death. And many early deaths, they don't live long lives. Their lifespan there is not long at all. It doesn't have to be that way, because this is a trillion-billion-dollar industry that has the money and the resources, but is not interested at all in changing that system. They don't even have electricity in most of the places. So just sit on that, just read this. Even if you take this book and you read it slowly, don't put yourself like I did to do it in the month, because I'm actually going to go back to this a lot, because what I appreciated is a lot of African history that I was not aware of. And I just beg of you to just take a chance, pick this up and read it slowly, and just understand our role in the United States, understand many other countries' role in the pillage of this country. And it's heartbreaking. So it was an excellent book. I guess it's enough, right? I probably would have said most of this and more. I probably would read more of these quotes. Yeah, very, very important. I think definitely one of my top reads that I think that is a must read. Okay, so yeah, it's really good. Now, what I'm going to also tell you, and don't let this discourage you, if you can access the audiobook, the narrator does an amazing job of pronouncing the names, French words, and all of the different organizations. That is the only thing that I will tell you that could be a barrier for a reader. If you hate acronyms and all sorts of like lists of different organizations, it's going to be a little difficult at times. It isn't the whole book, but there's just a lot of it in there because he has to explain. There's so many hands in the plot in this that it is very important to elaborate and to include this information. So there is that. That, I think, if I just read this alone without the audio immersive, that would be harder and it would probably make me go a little slower. But if you stick with it, it is very rewarding in that you are now educated on something that a lot of people don't want you to know about. Okay, don't say that. That's it. I'm just saying that, and I'm gonna stop there. Okay, so there's that one, and then that is a 5-star for sure. If we were going to rate the book, that one is definitely a 5-star. So the other book that I read, can I pull it up here? No, it doesn't want to work for me. It's like you talking. Was a review book, and I can link it with this video, a review book for an ARC that I received. I got it as an ebook, and it was really, really good. Really, really good. This is Where the False Gods Dwell by Denny S. Bryce. She's written Wild Women. I keep forgetting to bring the other books that I have of hers here I think I have 2 of hers. But this is the cover of it. It is out. You can get it now. It was really amazing. You watch the video, you can hear me talk more about that book. But I just thought I'm so happy that they allow me to read it. I'm still humbled by it. I know that there's a lot of people that do read books for review, and that it's just, I don't know if it's old for them, but they've gotten just accustomed to it's happening. Every single time I get approved for something, it makes me feel very, very, I don't want to say special. It just makes my heart warm, right? Because I'm like, wow, this is a book that is going to cost money when you buy it, and they want my opinion on it. Obviously, it's a win-win also, because then I can review it and also I can talk here and promote it. But there's a lot of people that are reviewing. So I still feel really special about doing it. And I'm glad that I restarted it. My first start and foray into this world of reviewing was naughty. I mean, I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, yes, request, 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 and then read one book. You know, like I have so many books that I didn't read back then. And the shameful thing is now I have a different taste. So when I look back at them, like, no, I don't read that even now. So I wish I had read it then so that I wouldn't have that over me. But I'm moving forward, and the books that I'm selecting, I'm being very selective, and you know, holding myself accountable in space to actually do what I say I'm going to do and have some integrity. So that's Where the False Gods Dwell by Denny S. Bryce, with an absolutely stunning cover. I think it's out in paperback, not even hardcover, so it could be a good price. Excellent book. Really, really good. I won't talk about it because, like I said, you can watch that video. And then, turn that off. And then, Betsy Brown. I finished this yesterday. And I'm just like, wow. Okay, so I didn't get to read it with the book club because I had another event coming up the same time we had book club. And so I went to that, and then I was like, because I knew I wasn't going to be able to be there, I was like, okay, well, I just won't be finishing it in time. I'll finish it before the end of the month. I think I was on page 40, and one day I sat and just read like this. Amazing. Amazing. Just brilliant writing. It's set in St. Louis in 1957. It was the year the Little Rock Nine, put in context, were integrating, you know, there was the integration of schools. I wrote a bunch right after I read this, which were probably my mind is just gonna slip from me right now because I felt so emotional. Like, you know, I should say I felt so many feelings for different characters in the book in many ways. But you follow this Black family in St. Louis, a mother and a father, and they have the grandmother's living with them. The mother's mom lives with them, and she's got a bunch of kids. And it follows her, and Betsy Brown is her oldest daughter, and Betsy Brown is really the star of the show, you know, or the main, I would say, you know, character. But you get perspectives from a couple other people. This book was really good because the writing was amazing. There is a little bit of the time period of broken kind of English used, and it just added. There was so much spunk. Betsy is, I believe, like around 12 or 13. She's young, but she's at that age where, you know, you're starting to be thinking more of adult than a kid, but you're still a kid, and you're curious, and you watch her kind of go through this time. I loved how the author weaved in the historical context. So you saw Betsy and her siblings as they had two parents that work out of the home. The mother worked for I believe she worked at a mental health facility, and the husband was a doctor. So you got to see the struggles that he had as a Black doctor. You got to see the children. They were in an all-Black school, but when the law changed, some parents had to make choices whether they wanted their children to integrate. And this book did a great job of tipping it and giving you more of a perspective of the fears that the parents had and the reservation and fears that the kids had of going and integrating into school. And I think that you always hear about it so removed, that this was nice to get an idea of a bird's eye view of what a child might feel like and what the parents feel like, I think the father was recognizes that he's throughout the book is very much trying to help move the needle forward for the Black community. And the mother is just thinking of the safety of her children, which is natural. She just wants them to be safe. She doesn't want them to be othered. She doesn't want them to be awkward, but she's trying to also be strong and help. This is something that they recognize as something that they could do to benefit the rest of the community. And so you get a really good idea of seeing, how that plays out. And then there's another quote in here. I don't know if I have it. I don't know if I marked it, but when Betsy was going to school, you realized how much these kids had to give up to sacrifice to be the firsts. That first of all, they had to get up very, very early and travel many times, several forms of transportation to arrive at these white schools. And then, by the time that they get home, it's late. They don't have time to even, to really hang out with their friends in their community. And, they mentioned in one of the scenes that there was a shuttle that allowed the kids to there was one day that they could go to the pool at the Y as Black kids, and she gets back too late. So she misses out on opportunity. And I think they just wanted to put that in there also just to remind you of well, with this quote, pushed for advancement, these children also suffered and missed a lot of opportunities for themselves. And so that was just so wonderful. I just thought this was a great book. I'm so mad that I didn't get to sit with the discussion. I am actually going to go put a little bit of my thoughts in because we have when you do join the Patreon, you do get access to be able to chat in the channel. So I'm probably going to do that and chat with everybody, but it's just priceless to be able to sit down and talk with everybody, because the ladies in this group are just amazing and have very good ways of articulating opinions about the book. So I just want to know what their thoughts were, but I love this. And now I'm so sad that I've sat on, I have some sing, some cry, and I have another book. I have 2 books by this author. So I am now excited to read them, hoping that they'll be just as amazing as this. This is, I highly, highly recommend. It's a very immersive. I was sitting in a cafe and I read over 130 pages. I just sat there. I remember I got up a couple times to the bathroom. I had just had some tea and I just kept reading and giggling. There's so many little scenes in here that make you laugh. There's things that make you frustrated. It was just an excellent book. So it was the best way to end the month for sure. So I read all those books. I didn't get, unfortunately, to do this one. Now this one I said that I would do this if I had enough time. I don't have enough time, but I may end up putting this in with my women's history for March. I have a big list there, but I don't really have a dedicated book. Well, the book I'm reading for book club could potentially also be it's a memoir. So memoirs are a person's history. I don't know. I have to read it to know. But this could be potentially my women's history. I can't, unfortunately, read multiples because in March is also March Mystery Madness and I have book club selection. So this might be the one that this might be the spill over, but not really spill over. This might be just, because I only started, I think what I read, was like 20 pages. Yeah. So, this could actually be that. So I'm going to decide. I'm not sure exactly, if that's what I'm going to do or not, because I realize I am a mood reader and I do tend to have this ability to go and change my mind. So I am trying to stick with the books. I started pulling probably about a week ago books that I thought would possibly be my March. So so we'll see. But I hope you guys got some perspectives on these books. I'm just saying, if I had, well, actually there's 3 I'd want you to read. I don't only the other one, but this is a must read, okay? Just put it as something you'll read this year, and you may have it in the background, or it may not. You may just get pulled in. It is a lot of information. It's very heavy. It's very sad and disturbing, but a requirement. This one, I just thought, if you want an immersive experience following this Black family and the shenanigans, and there's so many great lessons in here. I don't want to talk about them because I think that's spoilers. But it's just really a great book, and it's not even long. So hey, if I can read it that fast, it's not even 200 pages. It's 192 pages. So doable. So definitely check that out. And the book that I read for Where the False Gods Dwell was a really good read as well. I will put the link to the video for my review of that in case you didn't see that, but it was really good. I'm excited for March, and I'm excited for 2 for 2. January finished clean, February clean. Let's see if I can do it again for March. 2026 is coming out all right, and the only thing is I need to sit with this. And I got a busy weekend, so we'll see, but I need to put the reviews. I'm glad I did put, I took the iPad in bed. I just kind of wrote some of the thoughts that were just coming up right as I finished the Betsy Brown, but I definitely want to, write the rest of these down and get them in here so I can have it ready for March. So thanks for sitting here and listening to me babble on, but I'm glad that I got a chance to tell you what my thoughts were on the books. And let me know if you've read any of these or if you're thinking of reading them. And I will talk to you very soon. Bye.